An estimated 10,000 to 20,000 alien abduction cases have been reported globally over the past decade. Many more go unreported. Some polls suggest up to 4 million Americans believe they've had an abduction experience. People who report alien abductions often describe missing time, being taken aboard craft, telepathic communication, and physical examinations by non-human beings. But not all alien abduction experiences are physical. These are called ILUs, interdimensional light body upgrades. They are energetic and psychic and powerfully life-changing. These experiences are being reported more and more around the world. Oriah Mirza, intuitive empath and host of the Mystics podcast, is an ILU experiencer. This is her story.
Welcome back, everybody, to part 2, the quantum intervention. I'm Lady O, and this is my wonderful co-host, Dennis Strahl. Hello, Dennis. Thank you for joining me again.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you back. If you saw episode 1, so this will be a continuation of where we left off in the previous episode. And Oriah had asked me to say something about the background that you see back behind me here. If you're wondering what that is, I was in the commercial mining industry, developing gold and copper and silver mines from scratch here in Nevada, because I'm talking from Las Vegas. Did that for about 7 or 8 years. And that right behind me, what you're seeing is a photograph that I had taken of an abandoned gold mine in a very remote location. So the kind of the kind of orange reddish color that you see is an indication that there's gold ore nearby. So I chose to have a little my crusty old miner background. And I like it, so I hope you do too.
Well, Dennis, thank you for sharing that information. And, you know, I've known Dennis since 2010. I don't even know how many years that is. And he used to share with us these adventures that he's taken out there in the desert, and the UFOs that he's seen in the sky, the interactions that he has felt, like even the portals, the mysteries. There's so many stories, Dennis, that you could actually write a book called Desert Dennis and the Mysteries of the Desert or something.
Very possibly so. And you know, the areas where we were actively prospecting, because we would literally develop mines from scratch. So that means you got to go out and find surface indications first, and then send samples in and have them sampled and all. But most of our projects were just west of Area 51.
Yes.
I mean, literally seconds away by a UFO speed, and just off the northeast. I'm sorry, our projects were just off the northwest corner of the Nevada test site, which is what encompasses Area 51.
Which is no accident, being that you're also an experiencer.
Yep.
And I can't wait to get to your stories also after we're completing part 2 of my experience with my alien upgrade. My new book is going to be out July 8th, and it is a new revised and expanded edition. I also have the esteemed privilege, I should say, that Barbara Lamb, a very well-known alien abductee, regressor, hypnotherapist, will be giving me a hypnotherapy session today after this recording is over. And I will actually be recording it, and I will come back with that hypnotherapy session and put it up for our next episode.
That is, you know, I'm so excited about that for you, Oriah, because, you know, just to reemphasize, she is a renowned hypnotic regression hypnotist. And so she not only does past life regression hypnosis, but she also does, well, gee, you know, can you take me up on the ship? I think I was taken on board sometime, and she has lots of people come to her specifically for that. So so she's
thousands of people. Yeah.
So she's highly experienced, and Oriah's going to one of the best. So it'll be fun to hear what happened in future episodes. So look forward to that.
Yeah, and if you watched part 1, I cover some time missing segments and some interactions I've had even with cryptids. And so I'm going to bring up those questions and have Barbara help me to regress those areas to find out what happened during that time missing period and things that I experienced, what was really happening. So I just cannot wait. And I'm considering to even delay my book coming out and putting it in my book. But then I thought, you know what, maybe I should just put it for the second version of this book, or the second segment of this book. How would you call that? A book 2 of
sure.
Alien Upgrades. Yeah.
A continuation of the story because of the fact that you are progressively learning more about the experience. Simply because you're doing another hypnotic regression today, which is going to bring forward more information. The existing book you're about to release in a few days is already complete. So I would say include the progressive information in the next book.
That's right.
And keep the story going. And it's fascinating.
Yeah, I cannot wait to do it. As I unfold and expand this story, more and more details come out. And it's not just about the story, it's about who I became, which I'm going to go into detail today. It's who I became. Now, if I don't get it all, after I explain the surgery and talk about my, kind of my integration, I guess you would call it, even though it wasn't an integration at all, but kind of trying to get back into society afterwards, that itself could be a part 3 if we don't cover it all today, but we're going to try to get to it. The actual surgery itself was very in-depth and detailed, lots of information there. And Dennis is going to be asking me questions regarding these areas. And so I'm going to let you take the helm right now, Dennis. So if you want to go ahead and start asking me questions. And
for those of you that maybe didn't hear episode 1, when Oriah says surgery, she's not talking about physical surgery like, they took her onto the ship and cut her open. No, this was an etheric, energetic, replacement of certain internal I don't want to go into too much detail because Oriah will do that better than I, but it was an energetic surgery, and surgery just ends up being the most descriptive word because something was energetically removed and something, the upgrade, was energetically installed.
That's correct.
So that's what we're talking about here. So, okay, well, let's fire off. I've got my list of questions right here that I want to kind of lead us through. Okay. And so following your trip to Paris, where this first occurred, you ended up getting a telepathic summons when you and Riz were back in Marina del Rey, where you were living at the time, which is near Malibu, and informing you of an impending additional visitation that was going to occur at a precise time, amazingly. Not just, sometime next week or something, but a very precise time that they gave you. So what was that direct communication like? And how did Riz's confirmation about your soul contract prepare you for what was going to happen at 7:30 p.m., which was the precise time that they relayed to you?
That's right. Okay, so we had just got back from Paris. We were kind of settling in. I was relieved that my alien visitation, my alien channeling session on the train was complete. It was over. I felt like it was over and done with. I am never going to hear from them or see them again. And I was very relieved and getting over it and starting to move on into my life, thinking that, okay, I'm back to normal now. So I was walking into the bedroom, and it's funny, I've had another experience where I was walking through a threshold. So when you walk through the threshold of your door, it's very symbolic of any door. And I remember having a threshold experience walking into my house many years prior, and I got a sickening feeling and collapsed on the floor and started like heaving, dry heaving. And it turned out my dad had died at that time in another state. And I felt it. And it was funny. I was walking through the threshold of my front door. So that is not only how connected we are, but that symbol that there's no accidents in the consciousness behind everything we do. And the fact that I was walking into my bedroom door, and it was a very similar thing walking into the threshold. And I heard the same familiar voice that I told you about in part 1, which was kind of more on the masculine side, but it was kind of it didn't have a gender. And I heard the same voice say, meet us in the room, be prepared at 7:30. And it's like, we need a continuation, basically. So what I'm understanding now is kind of, they give these thought bubbles, they give these like little downloads. So it may not be real time on their end. They could be sending me like an email. It's like a text message, a voice message. And I heard it, and it kind of has their inflection and their intentionality behind it. So their emotions. So I could feel they're saying, we're going to see you tonight. There really is it's not about you choosing whether or not we should be here or not. This is like a planned thing. Like, I felt like this was an organized, scheduled thing, which I come to find out many, many, many years later, that it is very scheduled and planned, because this is a very routine type of upgrade that they give humans. So I found that out in my hypnotherapy session with another hypnotherapist. And also I've read about that and heard other experiencers talk about that. So this is a very routine surgery. So it was kind of, apparently I put in the request for it. My higher self, another version of myself, requested this surgery. I didn't realize I did, but I asked for this upgrade. Now it makes sense, because being married to a master trance channel who had been teaching and doing spiritual groups and talks and everything for years before he met me, I was more in the corporate world. And I was a business consultant and a coach. So I was more in the salesman kind of marketing. I was not in the spiritual side of things.
Right.
So I felt like, even though we were now engaged, we still were worlds apart. I had the same belief systems. I felt the same way internally, but I couldn't articulate. There was no way I could speak like Riz was able to speak. There was no way I could even coach people or help people spiritually, because I didn't have the years of experience and background that he did. So it would make sense now, looking back, my higher self requested this surgery to have this upgrade, so that when I came out of the upgrade, I knew everything that Riz knew, plus even more.
Right.
So it was all instant. So that's how it changed my life so much. Okay, so let's go back to that moment. So I'm walking through the threshold. I considered maybe I should leave and go hide. Maybe I should run outside the door and like stay at a coffee shop or do something, anything other than to see these people again, these beings again. I didn't want to see them. And of course I was scared. And so I knew that it was futile. I felt that it would make no difference. The feeling I got was that they were going to do this regardless at some point. So I might as well get it over with, whatever it is that they needed to see me for. So at 7:30 on the dot, a few minutes beforehand, I walk to the bedroom and I get on the right side of the bed, and there's a big bay window to my right. And I lay down on the covers and I put my hands to my side, and I kind of just laid there like zombie mode, just like eyes closed, stiff. I was very nervous. My heart was pounding. I didn't know like what to expect. I didn't know what was going to happen. And I started to feel sleepy. Now, during this time, I guess Riz walked in the room, and I had no idea that he came in. I didn't hear him come in. And he told me he felt compelled. Originally, he wasn't going to come in. And he felt drawn, right? So he probably got summoned, or he just felt like he should be there. So he went and laid down next to me. Well, I was already starting to go under. Now, I thought I was just sleepy, but I wasn't sleepy prior. My adrenaline was going, my heart was pounding, but I started to get this kind of euphoric sleepiness. And I closed my eyes, and immediately within a few minutes, I opened my eyes up again right away, because I felt their presence. And sure enough, right hovering above my head was this giant, like I would say 4 or 5 feet from top to bottom, was the top of the head, and this way wide, like 5 feet wide. It was just like massive.
So like from the chin up?
Yes. I didn't see the rest of the body. He could have been leaning down. It made me feel like a tiny little like a little thing, like a little doll. Like I felt very small in comparison. And I noticed that I was looking very closely at his eyes that were, those big black alien eyes. And I was noticing that he had a million tiny little cracks, which I've never seen that before in all the drawings or illustrations of aliens, grays, right? You don't see the cracks. It's like usually smooth skin.
Right.
So to see the tiny little cracks was fascinating. And I was looking at the cracks and I couldn't believe how many there were. And in that moment, I felt like, oh, this is an older, like maybe this is the shaman or medicine man of the aliens. Now, I want to let you know that while this was happening, this very first moment, my eyes were slightly blurry. So like when you just put eye drops.
Right.
So it had that little blur. So it's almost as if I was already starting to go interdimensional.
Okay.
And I didn't know. So as soon as I saw it, my mind was able to comprehend it and not like leave my body. And the reason why is because I think I understood this was multidimensional, because my eyes, I can feel the blurriness in my eyes.
So once you saw him, you were no longer fearful. You felt comfortable.
No, I was more curious. And it was like I was underwater. I felt like, when you're looking underwater and something's a little blurry, but his face was going into focus. I could see his face clearly. But that's how, looking back, I feel like I was in another dimension. Right. Okay, so that was the very first moment. And then I remember lifting my head up. I tried to sit up, and he took his finger and pushed my head back onto the pillow. But when he did that, I don't know if he was infusing my head with something, because at the same time he did that, I also was very like altered. I felt like he had put me under even deeper. So
his finger was pointed at your pineal gland.
Yeah, right here. And he just pushed me back. So he probably did some infusing of something to help me go into more of the altered state. Okay, so now I'm laying there, eyes closed. I'm very, very aware of their presence. And I open my eyes while I'm laying on my back. So imagine normally your head would be, or your eyes would be looking straight up at the ceiling, right?
Right.
But in this case, I saw nothing but white. It was like a glowing white. I guess it would be a room, but it wasn't a room. It was like a space. And there was no end. There was no right corners. There was no walls. There was no floor. There was no end to this. It was just this big whiteness. It felt like glowing white, but I could tell it was a contained environment because it had some shadows. So I could feel like it was like round. And my eyes were kind of moving forward. Like I was looking towards something over here to my right, off of the foot of the bed further down. Like maybe I would say, if this was measurement wise, I would say this was about 20 feet away.
Okay.
Outside of my bedroom, because my bedroom is only 10 by 15 maybe.
Okay.
So I see a tall gray alien standing there. And the other alien is gone. I don't know if it's the same one, but I do see it's him standing there, and he was standing next to a man. This man had dark brown hair, short. He was wearing like board shorts or like sports shorts and a t-shirt. And it looked like his expression, I only saw a quarter of his face, but his expression looked like he was in a sleep state. Like his eyes were open, but it was kind of like sleepwalking. Okay. Kind of like you could put your hand in front of his face. He probably wouldn't see you, kind of thing. Okay. And before I go any further, do you have any other questions on because I don't know if I'm cutting into any of your questions before I go to the next part.
I'll just state my next question, because I think we're right on track here, but you know, the core of your alien upgrade details, which you call an interdimensional light body upgrade, an ILU, or what you also refer to as holographic surgery.
Yes.
And can you now describe the surgical suite, that vast round white space, which you just did?
Yes,
and the beings
I'm going into that.
So
that's what I'm going into.
So you just covered that?
Yeah, but I'm going to go deeper into the space, because the surgical space where he held the tray is where it all
Oh,
began.
yes. I remember that from the book. Yeah, definitely go into that area.
Okay. So he was holding like a surgical tray. So it was like a steel flat tray, and the alien was holding it. And so he's standing to the right. The man is standing to the left. I'd say the man is about 6 foot tall, and the alien would be about 7 feet in comparison. So he's holding the tray like this in between the two of them. And I just took note of it, and that's it. Now, I thought that's all there was that I was going to see, and I was just going to look away. I don't know why I was looking at that. It was not there for me. I don't know why they're standing there, but I kind of wanted to divert my eyes. But as I did that, they zoomed in really fast. It was like all of a sudden I was like, they were closer, and they had tilted the tray so I could see the contents on what's on top of the tray.
Oh.
And I saw this a gelatin, globular, jelly, amber orange colored gel with these tiny little iridescent, like little sparkles. They were like little light pieces of light. That's what it looked like to me. And it was like very illuminating and very like kind of beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
And on that, I took note as my eyes focused, is there was a circle. This, is a circle, and it was the orbital bone and the eye. It was an orbital bone and an eye in the tray. I didn't know it belonged to the man that was standing there. And this eye had like right under the eyebrow, all the way through here was a perfect circle. And it was in the gelatin, and the eye was moving and looking around. It was alive.
Wow.
And in that moment, half my brain was very curious, like the sentient part of me.
Sure, yeah. How can this be?
Very fascinated. The other part of me was like, why am I seeing this? This looks like on the grotesque side. I should probably get out of this, because this looks like it could be going into a nightmare situation. And I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And so in that moment, they knew I was probably going to react like that. So they were prepared. Yeah. And so in that second, it was all very, very fast how it happened. In that second, I realized they're showing this to me for a reason.
Yes.
And then my mind did the computations, the calculations, and I realized the reason they showed the eye to me in the gelatin is to tell me that this gelatin is a living being and can keep other living beings alive, any other organisms of any kind. It's an intelligent life form itself, this gelatin. So then that means that the eye can stay alive. And I realized looking back, if they put a finger or a toe or a hand, I would not have registered that it was a living sentient gelatin.
Right. But when the eye was looking around.
That's correct.
Yep.
That was my clue. So in that moment, the man turns and looks at me, and there was a gaping black hole. I could see into his face, but it was just black. And it was the same circle, and I knew it was his eye. But the message I got instantaneously was not to worry. There's no harm done, and that this person will even get his eye back, and they won't even know anything happened. So it was just for this purpose.
And he didn't seem to be in any pain either, right?
No, not at all. He didn't even really know anything happened to him. He was just standing there in an altered state. In that moment, I said, "Oh, shit." I knew in that moment I was next. I didn't know what they were going to do, but I knew I was next. And I knew that was the setup, and they were coming after me, and I was going to be involved with that gelatin somehow in some way. And I did not want to be in my body at that moment. And that's when I tried to exit the whole situation. So I tried to, like, if you could imagine backpedaling into yourself and like wanting to like leave your body, like I wanted to exit out of the back door of my body.
Sure. Like, yeah, I'm not so sure about this. Is there an exit here?
Exit out the back of my body. Like that's what I was trying to do, to get out of this situation as fast as possible. And I immediately went into fight or flight. My adrenaline started pumping. I immediately knew this was life or death, danger, get me out of here. And so that's why everything happened really fast. They knew I was going to react like that. Right, and so the second that happened, I noticed to my right, directly next to my bed, my so-called bed, keep in mind, I'm on my bed still. I'm on my physical bed in my bedroom. And I sensed Riz was here, but I hadn't talked to him yet or said anything to him.
Right.
And so on the right side, there was no bedroom. There was no wall. There was no window. There was just white. So I turned to my right, and there is this vat. So the vat holds tremendous pounds, liters of liquid. And so this vat, it seemed like it would be about 20 feet deep and about six to 10 feet wide. It was giant. Now, so that tells me that however I was placed was up high, or this thing was down low. So space was kind of different. As I saw this gelatin, this gel, I said, "Oh, no, 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 no." And I started to get out of it. Like, no, 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 no. Like, I don't want this. I don't want this.
Right.
And sure enough, before I even had a chance to even think twice or do anything, this was all so fast. I felt my head going into it. So like if they had picked me up and put me head first into this gelatin. Now, this is the part where my physical body, my mental state, my senses, my earth senses, and my spiritual senses all were connected as one, because I literally felt the liquid go into my eyeballs, my nostrils, my mouth. And the second it went into my nostrils and my mouth, I said, "That's it. This is the moment. This is where I die.
Yeah.
This is it." Because I felt the actual taste. It was like, it didn't have a taste, but the temperature was like a medium room temperature. I could feel the actual texture of the material. I felt it go into my nose and mouth, and I immediately started to gag. And I said to myself, well, I've seen sci-fi movies where you get used to drinking the water and then you can breathe underwater, or drinking the, but only in sci-fi movies I've seen that.
So it kind of felt like you were in the process of swallowing Jell-O, but couldn't swallow it all the way down. Therefore, you wouldn't be able to breathe with that gel filling up your... That's
going to take about a few seconds, just seconds.
Right.
And in that moment, when it went down my throat, I started gagging and trying to like cough it up. I didn't want it to go down.
Right.
And I started to convulse and shake, like my body went into shock. And when that started happening, that's when I tried to yell for Riz.
Okay.
I heard my voice, because it happened really quick. And the second I felt it go in my mouth, I started yelling, "Help me, help me," to Riz. And I could hear the tone of my volume, or my sound of my voice, trying to articulate. And I was able to get like a couple words out for him to hear. And he, very calmly on the bed, I heard him respond. And he said, "It is okay. It is all right. They are benevolent. Just go through with the process.
Go with it."
Like, fine. And in that moment, there was a cold chill that went through me. Like I felt death, because I said, "Oh, they got to him." Oh, they got to him. So now he's in their spell. So now I'm going to really die right now. Like there's no human in the bedroom who's going to help me.
Right.
So I panicked internally, and there was another feeling I had that came over me, like an animal who maybe gets, they succumb to the trap and they kind of know that they're just going to die anyway. So you kind of go into this other state where you feel like you're just going to leave your body. Yep. So I started to do that. Now, in that moment, I had enough awareness. I noticed that my physical body laying there on the bed I had been in convulsing so hard that half my body started to fall off the bed, shoulder, chest, waist. I was starting to fall off the bed. That's how hard I was convulsing. So imagine this happening in real life. So if somebody walked in the room, they would have physically seen me do that. So I remember taking my hand and pulling it behind me to try to reach for Riz.
Okay.
And he didn't grab it. Now, he told me later, I asked him, "Why didn't you grab my arm and pull me out?" And he said, "I felt very calm and peaceful, like all was well." And I said, "Well, now I know he was in agreement."
Influenced? He was influenced?
Agreed. His higher self knew that I had, I guess, planned for this.
Right.
There was nothing wrong. So I guess all of the above.
Very interesting.
So I then felt myself placed back on the bed, and I was kind of just laying there, and it was like this feeling of like peacefulness, like quiet, like I was just very still. I think I had been already in some sort of encasement, or maybe the gelatin was in my body. I'm not sure, but I felt myself just laying there, and I didn't know what was going to happen next. And all of a sudden, above my head, I looked up, and above my head, I saw that first alien with the cracks in his face leaning over like he was going to work on the back of my head. And behind him, in my peripheral, I saw the white walls, the white room, the big white space behind, no headboard, no wall, just white space. And I saw other grays standing behind him.
Wow.
And so I felt like I was in an operation, like this must be the operating room. And so I felt him. I didn't feel his fingers, and I didn't feel his touch, and I didn't feel anything to my actual physical head, but I felt something kind of wet. It was like it was a wet feeling. That's all I can remember. And it was in the base of my skull, and it was kind of in the base of my skull and up at the top of my spine. And I didn't feel anything, but then I looked up and I saw this long blue Tron looking cord. So I guess it would be like, imagine like a very thin stick, think of the straightest, almost like a laser pointer stick or something. It was just
it was blue, but it was somewhat translucent.
It was translucent. It had like light. It had like fibers, like light going in and out of, up and down. And it was actually really, really beautiful looking. And it reminded me of the movie Tron. What was that?
How long was it?
It was probably
about the length of your spine.
Yeah. It was, it was the length of my spine. And I didn't know what it was, but I remember looking at it and thinking how beautiful. They reminded me of Tron, the movie, the lights that they have. Okay.
Exactly.
So then I still didn't connect the dots, like what this was or what was going to happen, or the wetness on the back of my neck. I didn't feel anything. And all of a sudden, then I felt that there was like a motion or like a movement. I felt something like a very light feeling, like something was touching me. And then all of a sudden, lights out. I blacked out. Completely blacked out, and did not wake up until 3:45 p.m. the next day. Now, I'm an early riser. I'm one of those clockwork people that go to sleep at 10 p.m. and wake up at 6 o'clock. I never sleep till 3:45 in my life.
Wow.
And I wasn't sick. I didn't have any pre-existing conditions. I didn't have any kind of stroke. There was nothing that happened to me physically. I was in good shape, good health. And so I was sleeping there. So when I woke up, my whole body felt like I had been like sleeping out in the desert, dry as a bone. Had my mouth, I couldn't even open my mouth. It was so dry. My eyes were so dry. And I remember I got up from the bed and I was very, very peaceful.
Wow.
Very peaceful. So I'll tell you the next part if you have any questions for me here before I go on.
Well, just to clarify for the listeners, so you laid down on the bed at 7:30 at night, went through the entire process that you just explained, and then you blacked out eventually and slept until 3:45 p.m. the next day.
Right.
Out like a light.
Yes. Had no memories, no dreams, no nothing. It was just nothing. I didn't exist.
Okay. So you had almost a 24-hour blackout. And so what was it like up to your radically altered sensory perception that all of a sudden you saw in Technicolor, if I recall, you had mentioned to me before, and you could hear every subtle little frequency.
Yes.
And you said that you felt something like an insect or like AI or something. So how did you navigate then this rewiring.
Yeah.
And the new, so you sensed that the translucent blue spinal situation, that was a replacement, an energetic replacement for your pre-existing spine?
Yes.
Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay. So then how did you navigate from here on with this rewiring that took place of you?
So obviously I didn't know anything happened to me cognitively at all, but I want to be very clear what happened that day at 3:45 p.m. when I swung my legs over the bed. I was not the same person. So when I stood up, I had no real recollection or memories of, I had memories of the previous life I had, but it was very vague and almost like a story from another book that I had written or wrote or read and put aside. And I was writing and in a new book. And so I woke up and I walked out and I knew that I had to find Riz, and I was trying to move my legs and I felt like my legs were kind of robotic at first. Like I was trying to get the motor skills connected, and I get to the living room and Riz is sitting on the couch fully dressed and nervous. And he looked really worried about me. I guess that's what I found out later. He was concerned and he didn't know what was going on. And he was
understandably so.
He said that he was psychically told to leave me alone, that I was doing like an upgrade, like a reprogramming, like something was happening to me. He said he did get that message.
Okay.
But he was worried around 3:45. So I came out and he goes, "Oh, there you are. We should get out of the house. We should go for a walk. You should get some fresh air." And I just stared and looked at him like, there's a movie, I think it was in the 80s called Starman.
Oh, I remember that. Yes.
I think about that movie a lot because that
was Jeff Bridges, right? That was the film with Jeff Bridges.
It was one of my dad's favorite movies, and I saw it with him. And
it was a good film.
Yeah, it was really good. And I love how it was so realistic. And there was some moments where you see that he's trying to get used to his human body. And that's how I was walking. I looked a lot like him, the way he was walking and his expression on his face. It was very just like a baby almost, like just new to the world. So I said, okay, let's go for the walk to the beach and get some coffee. Like I said, yes, I wasn't speaking yet, but I nodded my head and my eyes were very big and I was just taking everything in. And I just remember everything being like a candy store. It was so bright and colorful and everything had a sound and everything was just, it was like, wow. Like I just felt so alive. And it was like this amazing feeling.
Everything was amplified then.
Yes, but
all your senses were highly amplified.
But I didn't have like an observer in me giving notes to myself. Like there was nobody inside of me that was saying, "Oh wow, check it out, look what's happening." It was me being me. So it was me being this new version. So everything around me just already had this look. Right. So I didn't have a reference.
Okay.
So anyway, we get out, we go for the walk, and I'm walking very strangely. I'm walking just like the Starman guy. It's almost identical. The feet are kind of stiff, and I'm walking, and that's why I think a lot of these movies are channeled movies and desensitization movies to prepare the public.
They're more like documentary than science fiction.
Yes, they are.
Right? Yeah.
So yes. So we get to this ice cream shop, and I'm standing at the counter and he's ordering an ice cream and there's a woman behind the counter. And in my book, I try to put as many illustrations as I could of some of these memories in as much articulate detail as possible so you can see what I saw. So I was standing in front of this glass case. There was all these round circles full of color and they had this funny kind of it was like a fun texture and they were kind of swirly and there was about 12, 15 of them. I don't know how many, but it was 2 rows. And I remember Riz standing next to me. He had these maroon colored pants and this yellow shirt. And he was holding this ice cream cone and he turns to me and he says, "What would you like?" And I just looked at him because I didn't know what he was talking about. And he says, what type of ice cream would you like? And I still didn't know what he was talking about. I understood ice cream was a thing, probably a food item, I gathered. I didn't know anything about, I didn't know if it was hot or cold or what it was or why I needed to have it. I had no idea about the flavor profile. So I didn't know that like strawberry had a flavor. So, and I didn't know it was called strawberry.
Right.
I didn't even at the moment know that it was even pink, the color pink. I just knew the color. I was aware of the color spectrum, but I didn't know the names of things or the connection to the flavor profile or what I like or not like. Nothing was connected yet inside.
So it was truly a new to planet Earth cultural anomaly.
Yes.
You kind of felt like,
keep in mind, I had no concussion, no head injuries, no recent or past head injuries. I had no stroke. I had no health issues. There was nothing wrong with me in my brain. I had not consumed anything. I didn't drink any drug. I wasn't on any drugs or alcohol. I didn't even start doing my psilocybin journeys till way later.
Right.
Way later. So I had no reason for this to happen. Now at the time, I didn't know.
And to not recognize ice cream of all things, right?
Yeah.
Very
and I didn't
common.
know anything was wrong. I had no idea anything was wrong.
Yeah.
I just was not sure what he was asking or what I was supposed to do. And then the lady just kept staring at me and there was people behind me. And I remember just staring very blank at these colors. I thought they were very fascinating, but I didn't know what I was supposed to do with them.
Right.
And then he got nervous and he told the lady, never mind, it's okay. And he paid and he grabbed me by the hand and kind of walked me out kind of fast. And he said, I think we need to get you home.
Sure.
So I stayed home for 2 weeks and didn't leave the house. And in that time, I couldn't be in bright lights too much.
Okay.
And I spent, I think, 4 hours a day at the bottom of the shower, in the shower. So I had the shower running. I would take turns. So I would do it in the morning. I would get out, do it in the afternoon, get out, eat, do it again, get out, eat. And
so you just sit at the bottom of the shower with the water running on you.
Yeah. I couldn't do anything else. I did that for 2 weeks straight. I on and off for months after, but consecutively. I thought I was going to live in the shower at some point. I was like, I guess I'm never leaving the shower.
Yeah.
But it had to be dark. I had to be in the water at the bottom of the shower on the floor, holding my knees. And I had to just let the water hit me. And that's the only way I was able to feel normal and calm. Like I felt like I was at home, like at peace. Now looking back.
It was soothing. It was soothing to you then.
Well, looking back, I realized what I was doing. You want to know what I was doing?
Yes.
I was recreating the womb.
Oh.
So I was
very
finishing.
Interesting.
Yep. Because I felt very infantile and I felt very precious and very innocent and very like anything could like damage my skin or like I felt very, I just felt like I wasn't ready for the world.
But you felt safe and secure when you were in the shower and the water was running on you.
Yeah.
Safe and secure.
Safe and secure. And it felt, this is where I started to get my bearings. Now, during that time, the shower, the door was shut. It was in an apartment. It was in an apartment at the time. There was no window in there, so it would get very dark. And so while I was in there, I would start traveling. And I would start visiting some of the beings that helped me, or I would be a part of the reconstruction or like the connecting of the dots of my own body, or I would be visiting my past identity. So I would be reviewing all my files from the old me that was there, Oriah, the prior, and I would be reviewing the notes, like my relationship with my children, the nuances, the jokes I had with them, my sense of humor, the foods I liked, how my perceptions of things, how I navigated in the world, how I interacted with human beings, what I knew about myself. I would take that time to review those notes.
So you're literally in an altered, you would move into an altered state of consciousness.
Yes.
And be able to review all of this information in a really short amount of time.
Yes. Now, can I tell you something that's going to blow your mind?
Yes.
You say I was in an altered state, right? Now,
Correct.
that actually I need to adjust. Now, one would think that's an altered state, but actually for me, it was a normal, natural state. It was actually just a normal way of being for me. So I could easily go in and out of those spaces. To this day, I could still do it. I just have learned to kind of compartmentalize it and learn how to live here on the planet, because it took me years to be able to socialize again and to be able to talk to people. And my whole life changed, and my relationship
so that was
with
a
my
major
friends,
component.
family, children, everybody. Yeah.
That was a major component then of your upgrade.
100%. I ended up, it was like I was X-Men after that. I came out with extraordinary abilities and skills. And to this day, I don't really utilize them in public fully, because I tried to do that. I tried to do that, I would say within the first 5 years of this upgrade, I tried to talk to people and give them the information I had, or help them, or whatever it was.
Right.
And because I wasn't fully balanced and integrated yet, it came out not as sophisticated, I guess, or not as, it was kind of clunky. And I would
cryptic then,
and then sometimes people would get a little nervous because they didn't know what was going on, because it was like, I was so intense and I had so much information, and there was so many, it was like outrageous to some people. But the people who liked it, the clients that I did have that wanted that, had some of the biggest experiences they've ever had with me. And of course, that's how I became a shaman. It was so easy, natural for me to do that. But, but yeah, do you have any other questions before I go any further?
Well, I recall, because I read your book, you had said something about how your family members, how your kids were responding to you. Could you explore that a little bit for us, so that our listeners can understand the ramifications? It did affect how your family was perceiving you. They knew something was different. Yeah. I'm talking about your children. Aside, Riz obviously knew.
Yes. Everything changed.
So what was the deal with your kids?
Yeah. I mean, with Riz, it was easy because I had only been with him for like a year and a half or so. So it was perfect, because I'm so glad we didn't have a long history together, and it was easier for him to navigate this new personality. It was still very tricky and not easy for him at all, but he accepted it and liked it, because I was so advanced, and I was able to have conversations with him he couldn't have with anybody else. And so,
well, you two definitely had a cosmic rendezvous on this timeline.
Yes, we did. Right? Yes. So
no doubt about it.
As far as my children go, this is where I had this is, just like any mother, biologically having children, this is like the biggest, I think this was one of the biggest challenges, integration issues. This was the hardest part, was with kids, because children know their parents very well, and children study their parents very well and know them intimately inside and out from birth. They're very aware of their caregivers. Yeah. So I was not the same mother, and I didn't see them for those 2 weeks, and they were needing to see me, and I had them with their fathers, and like they needed to see me, and I knew I had to see them, and I was so nervous. I had gone through every file I could possibly remember, every memory I could possibly bring up, every connection I had with each one of them, all 5 of them, and each personal interaction I had with them at different various times that I could pull up from my memory bank, that I could connect the dots, so that when I do see them, I could try to piece back together as much as possible the mother that they knew.
Sure.
And I by the time 2 weeks were over, I felt like I hadn't even I maybe completed 30% of the mission of trying to get myself back to this old identity. And I knew I was going to fail. I was very, very, very nervous. I just knew that they were going to know it wasn't me. And I was so concerned. So Riz offered to drive me out to go to the meeting point to go pick them up. And I said, let me just try to do this on my own, like the old days, because I know in the old days, that's how I used to do it. I used to drive out by myself and pick them up, and I had a routine. And I remember I would go take them to a restaurant and get food and have fun, and then drive home, and I would play music and talk and ask questions. And I had this, like, I know I had this routine with them, and I did remember that because I
would be expecting that, of course.
So I went by myself. I remember the kids piling in the car. I don't think I've ever been so nervous. And my youngest at the time, not youngest, sorry, out of the older three, my third one was the most, and still is one of the most psychic, and always has been. And she's a Pisces. Right. And I was nervous about her because I knew that she would be able to tell probably faster.
She's going to sense something.
Yeah. So we sit in the car, and I must have only talked for less than 8 minutes. I tried to say a couple jokes. I tried to just kind of get in there with the kids and just act like the old me. And within 8 minutes, my third born was onto me, and she said, "Mommy, you're acting like an alien."
Oh my gosh.
I got my failing grade. I did not pass the test. And afterwards, there was a blur of situations and conversations and interactions with them over the years. And they made a big deal about it. They wanted to know where their mommy was. When's my mommy coming back? What happened to you? Who is this? I don't recognize you. I don't know who this person is. And it was, now looking back that I'm more connected to myself, the old me, like I could feel emotional. I could get emotional about it, being that I know the old me would have wanted that never to happen.
Sure.
I knew it happened for the best, for the better for them, because I knew that the person I was maxing out. Like I was at my max, who I was before as a single mom, entrepreneur, been divorced several times, 2 fathers, like had 5 children. I had been through enough. And I felt like that identity had ran its course. And I really, really knew that I wouldn't have been able to offer the life I've been able to offer them the last 15 years if I didn't actually do this.
Yep.
So the uncomfortability and the pain that I went through with them, I didn't know I was in pain until now. I look back, I could see it was very painful. But at the time, I felt that I was like in a classroom that I was trying to pass the class. I kept trying to pass the class. I wanted the kids to know that I'm okay, that I'm here with you. I got you. But see, I used to have a little accent, and I don't have an accent in this new identity. So my old accent. Yeah. So I grew up in the inner city in East LA, and I grew up in a Hispanic neighborhood, and my mom's from Honduras. And so my dad is, from Denmark, but so I had this little accent, and it was, I like to joke, it was like a hood accent.
Okay. Yeah.
Riz used to make fun of me all the time because he was like, "Why? I don't understand why you talk like that." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? That's just how I talk."
It was so natural for you. Yeah.
It was so natural. And sometimes it would be more sophisticated, but I always talked with this little, I was very I had a lot of jokes. You grew up in the hood and you have jokes, and it's all this nuances that it just was gone. Just zero.
Completely
not available.
Disappeared. Wow.
Completely overnight. And I was speaking like I'm speaking now. And
so that would be something that would be quite noticeable to family members for sure. Especially your kids. Your kids. Yeah.
Everybody. Nobody recognized me. Nobody knew who I was and what I was doing. Everybody, my elder, my mom at the time, and everybody, they would be like rolling their eyes like, "Okay, this is your new, new identity? Is this your new identity? Like, what is this? And why are you talking like this?" Whatever. Like, they didn't take me seriously. Nobody really knew what to do with me. But the problem was, my biggest issue was this. I had a really big sense of humor prior to this upgrade. And people knew me about my sense of humor. I was kind of funny and kind of just wild. And I could not. And by the way, I want to make a side note here. This is a very spiritual thing, a very, very esoteric spiritual concept, what I'm going to say next.
Okay.
The humor was the hardest part for me to get back. And
How
that
interesting.
actually, but think about it, that is the highest enlightened state.
Yes.
Humor is the one that's the most trademarked to the individual, like a fingerprint.
Well, and to a culture too.
It's the most unique to the person.
Oh, absolutely.
And also, when you go to move to another country, it's the last thing you learn about that language is the humor.
Yeah.
It's the hardest nuance to get.
Very
Humor
interesting.
is the hardest. Yes.
I wasn't aware of that. That's very, very interesting.
It was the hardest
thing. You didn't even have to go to another country. You were on another planet as far as you were concerned.
Yes. I could not find my previous humor, and I could not find any current humor. Now, here's the thing. If you know anyone, Dennis, personally, that has no humor, it stands out like a sore thumb.
Yes, it does.
And you can't deny that. Like, this person does not have humor.
I think just about everyone has run into someone like that from one time to another, where you're almost, you want to say to them, gosh, you have no sense of humor? That was funny.
You have no sense of humor. And
also, they're standing there with a blank look on their face.
And also, it goes even deeper about inner humor, like even just feeling humorous.
Sure.
Having humor in the body.
Yeah.
You could sense and feel when someone has humor. If they don't have humor, it's usually replaced by trauma or something of the negative sort. But never is it just neutral. Rarely. Maybe if you're highly functioning, maybe on the spectrum, like autistic or something, maybe. But even then, they have their own humor. So it's like, imagine having no self-humor, no humor in the being, and no humor out in the world with others.
That's very peculiar, because I know from time to time, I'll just think of something funny as I'm driving by myself.
Yeah.
And I'll just burst out laughing.
Do you know, it is to me what makes us stand apart from each other and from other species. It's actually the thing I think is the highest form of enlightenment, personally.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I've often thought, when you're listening to a really superb comedian, Jay Leno or George Carlin or
Conan O'Brien,
or any of these really classic comedians, the timing is so critical, because they know they're going to make you laugh.
But it's where it's coming from inside.
But it's where it's coming from in the delivery and all. Yes. And so I've always kind of thought that a really great comedian has to have some sort of an advanced state of consciousness to be able to anticipate and deliver in such a way that you're going to laugh your ass off. But
it's a talent.
It's a very high level of intelligence,
Absolutely. You have to be able to see past yourself. You have to be able to have a big perspective. You have to be able to be self-deprecating. You have to have humility. You have to have, there's a million things that go into the ingredients of having humor, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's what gives us it's that chef's kiss that we all have is our own humor.
And they're always acute observers too.
Yeah.
They're very, a master comedian is always an acute observer, because they will say things about, or make jokes about things that we already all know about, but you never really thought of it in that way.
Correct.
And when they present it that way, then, you're laughing like crazy. And you thought, I never thought of it like that. That is funny.
And they're also alchemists. So they work with alchemy, right? Because they take negative situations, painful situations, and turn it into humor. So it's a masterful concept, humor. Yes. And so I started to study it. And the more I tried to study humor, to try to bring humor back because I was failing miserably in my relationships with my people in my tribe.
Right.
Miserably failing. It was horrible. And nobody knew what to do with me. And I tried with every bone in my body to find humor. And I realized I did not have the data resources. There was actually no source files here for that. I had to develop and build a new sense of humor based on this new prototype, so to speak, this new identity self, this new avatar. I had to figure out what my new humor was. And if I could access some of my old humor, even better. But I needed to work on it. So I spent years and years and years developing, creating, understanding, and finding my humor. And it is my claim to fame now. That's the thing that I love the most about myself. And my biggest heroes are like Lucille Ball and all these Conan O'Brien. Like, to me, the comedians are they're my mentors. They're the ones that guide me through life because I understand how hard it is. And so I found my humor. And if you watch any of my own, my previous shows that I've done on my podcast, you'll see that I do a lot of really funny things and I'm really crazy. But that took me a lot of work to understand how to let that out. Find it and let it out. Discover it and release it. Develop it and bring it to the world.
That makes me think a lot about a lot of the brain science that I have studied and learned, in particular from people like Dr. Joe Dispenza, is a neuroscientist, but he mixes in spirituality and intention and all. But, he and a lot of other world-class PhD types of scientists talk about, they'll hook up all the sensors to somebody's skull and they'll tell you to think about this and this part of your brain lights up. And they tell you to think about that and that part of your brain lights up. And that's because there are clusters of neurons that you will repeatedly go back to and that accumulate. For example, a master pole vaulter, let's say, in the Olympics. Okay, they pole vaulted and jumped over that so many times. And so their brain is now programmed. There are clusters of neurons that are programmed to run at a certain speed and hold the pole in front of them at a certain angle. They know how much it's going to flex. All of that is little multiple clusters of neurons. So for you to recall humor, it was like the clusters of neurons that you had for humor, those neural patterns had disappeared and you had to create brand new ones.
Yep. I could be equivalent to somebody who's had a brain injury and could not bring humor back and then had to build it. It was like that. And so eventually what ended up happening after years and the story of how I came to be who I am today and the years that could fill another 3 or 4 books easily. Because I started working with thousands of clients and with my husband, in Malibu, and we opened a healing center and all that. But what I want to say is that it was the conversations I had with people and the feedback I would get is how I modeled and shaped myself, and I still do to this day. So I'm constantly just like OpenAI can. It upgrades itself by self-learning. Okay. And since all human beings, we all have the ability to do that. We are self-learning, pre-programmed. We come in with a hard drive, but we're programmable beings. And so we have the ability to upgrade ourselves. And we have the ability to preview and look and see what needs to be upgraded. And we can constantly be self-upgrading. And so we have that ability. So we created our AIs to reflect that. So I myself continued with the self-evolving, upgrading framework.
So to regain your humor, I'm curious, did you spend any time watching comedians? In other words, I mean, you're right there in LA. You and Riz could go to the Comedy Store anytime you want. you know, and watch the stand-up comedians and the improvs and all, and you know, some of the classic people still show up there.
Yeah, we go through stages. We prefer to watch it in the comfort of our own home, but like Bernie Mac, for instance, Bernie Mac, I channeled Bernie Mac a couple times, to believe it or not, in front of people. I fell in love with Bernie Mac, and
he is a character.
He was like, I can go on and on about how much I love Bernie Mac, and I think he loves me just as much.
Yeah, his TV show was so comical because it was like he was a third person observing how he interacted with it was his sister and his nieces and nephews that he lived with, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and it was like he was a narrator.
Yes,
in his own show in real time, and I always found that so. And wasn't he unique? I've never seen anybody else do what Bernie Mac did in that television show.
I agree.
Narrating to himself what his current experience was, you know. And
he had humor bursting from his seams. He just had to get it out.
He does.
The other comedian I really enjoyed, which is much more subtle comedian but so precious, is Three's Company. What's his name? Oh my God, it just escaped me.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank too.
Jack.
Yes.
John Ritter. John Ritter.
Oh yes.
John Ritter. So precious, precious soul and precious being, and his humor so precious. And I just adore him and love him like he's alive today. And so John Ritter, Robin Williams, of course, Lucille Ball. These are all people I feel work with me on the other side. I feel that they're very close to me and guide me and help me through a lot of what I'm going through, and has helped bring my humor back. And I understand the love they have for humanity. I understand where they're coming from, in the sense that they brought that humor out. It wasn't just for themselves. They're doing it because they actually want to make a difference on the planet. They want to help people to smile and laugh.
I mean, you know, mentioning Lucille Ball, and her and Desi Arnaz, you know, had places for many, many years out in the Palm Springs area where I lived for so many years. 42 years I lived in that area before I moved here to Las Vegas. But I've always, one of the funniest scenes I think ever was when Lucy and Ethel were on the wrapping conveyor belt in the chocolate factory.
The famous scene.
No kidding. I mean, and they did that so well, and just made you can't. I don't think
you never laughed so hard, I bet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the comedians, old time, new time. Isn't it wonderful how master comedians bring so much joy to the hearts of their fellow human beings?
It is the highest level.
It's almost like I've been a master comedian before on multiple other timelines. And when I come in this time, that's what I'm going to do. That's going to be my profession. And that's pretty interesting when you think about it in those terms. Okay, I'm going to reincarnate on this timeline, and my name is going to be George Burns, Jay Leno, Robin Williams, George Carlin. And that's their mission in life, is to make people laugh. And what a wonderful, joyful mission. But they always see things with a type of clarity, which, as you've been regaining your perspective on comedy,
right? I got to tell you.
Who do you like to watch now, if I may ask?
I still watch the same. I still go over a lot of the same, but I will tell you, Larry David's co-star on Curb Your Enthusiasm, J.B. Smoove.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yes.
Do you see him?
Yep.
Oh my God, do I laugh? He's so funny. He's the real deal. Like, he is. I think he's funnier than Larry David. I think Larry David is great, but I think he's even funnier than Larry David.
I'll have to look him up. I've never watched him before.
Yeah, he is. He is just unbelievable. He's humor personified. He came to the planet to do this. This is all he came to do, is to make people laugh. He is the funniest man I have ever. He is beyond. So I love him, and I'm sure I can think of more. Of course, I love Conan. Conan's like, I feel like I'm related to Conan.
Sure.
I have a lot of similar attributes and characteristics and humor, and his wild side and everything. I can relate to him a lot. But I wanted to ask you, I wanted to go a little bit into some of my psychic abilities first, but I wanted to ask you if there was any other questions that you had before I continued.
Well, I think we pretty well
did we cover everything?
Covered everything that we had intended for this episode. So go ahead and go into whatever direction that you want to go into, because it's hitting you for right now for a reason. It needs to be included in this episode.
Yes.
So go for it.
Yes. Well, I realized in this talk I did not talk about my upgrades in the sense of my psychic abilities.
Correct.
And that's kind of like the biggest part of it.
Well, yeah, that's very, very key and important. So
yeah. Well, okay, I'm going to start with the number one. I didn't know I was an empath when I was a child. I was an empath my whole life. I've been an empath. I'm a Taurus on top of that, which tends to be empathic. So I have always felt other people very deeply, but I never really fully understood it or took it apart until after the upgrade.
Okay.
Now, what happened with the empathic side is I maintained that part. I still continue to be very sensitive, except it was now 100 times more sensitive. There was feelings that I had in the early days where I felt like I was like a fly or an insect, or like some people have said they feel like praying mantis.
You mean like a fly on the wall listening in? Is that what you mean?
No, like an actual insect, like the actual, that many eyes, very sensitive to vibration, like hairs on my skin. Like I can feel, it was like, I was so alert. I was like as alert as a cat, like I would look at the cat and the cat would look at me, and we'd have like a little standoff because I can kind of go into their world. I started to be able to feel, I could just feel more and more and more what people were feeling around me or thinking, or what their concerns were, what their main dialogue was. Like if they have a repetitive dialogue of concern or worry that's in the background, like a running ticker tape in the back of their mind, it was very loud. It was very loud for me. I would hear it almost before I would hear the person talking. Like the person can come up to me and start to speak, and I'm already hearing this conversation they're having, internal dialogue. I could also feel if the person was mentally unstable, or if they had severe trauma or anything that was off balance. I immediately could feel that and sense it. So it was natural for me to start really going into coaching all the way into, at first it started out with trauma life coaching, and then it went into shamanic work. But I did that.
So as they're speaking, you're having deja vu. Like I've already had this, because you knew what was coming. You know what's coming.
Deja vu is a little different. That's timeline jumping and bleed throughs, and I do have that regularly. But I think a lot of people have that. But no, this was different. This is a projection. So people don't realize that when they're thinking thoughts, they're actually projecting it into the space around them. You're projecting your thoughts energetically through frequency.
That's a very, very valid point, because I've listened to the wisdom for many years of Ramtha, who is, channeled by Jay-Z Knight. And Ramtha always says that, for example, when somebody says, oh, I didn't mean to say that. Thoughts always precede what you speak, okay? It's impossible to make a mistake. Like, I didn't mean to say that. Oh, yes, you did. Your subconscious had that all sorted out, and that's why you blurted it out. But also, every single thought comes in an emotional envelope. Well, it's your emotions that do the radiating that people feel.
They're connected, right? It's
exactly.
a package deal.
Exactly.
The emotions come
the
together
thought
with your
always
thoughts.
Creates an emotion, because whatever you're thinking, it's either good, bad, or indifferent, one way or the other, but that is an emotion that you're radiating automatically. You don't have to consciously think about it. It's automatic.
So I want to give you this example. If you have various music genres, so you have rock and roll, you have jazz, right? You have, let's say, give me another one, yacht rock.
Classic, Mozart.
Mozart. Okay, so you have these different genres. So when you listen to that channel, you know you're going to hear many, 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 many songs, but in that same genre.
Exactly.
We have all agreed that genre is going to sound like that. And
there's always a distinctive
and it's very
sound,
distinct from each other. Right.
Yes.
So rock and roll does not sound like classical.
No.
Okay. So when you have a dominant vibration, when you have a dominant dialogue, when you have a thought it is your reoccurring, consistent dialogue, inner dialogue, that is almost like saying that's your genre of music you're playing. That's the radio station. That's the radio station you're on.
Right.
And now you may not like that radio station, but that's what you're playing. Yep. And so what happens is when you come around other people who are very highly sensitive, especially children, animals, and highly sensitive people, you come around them, they hear the tune you're playing. So if it's grunge or heavy metal, or if it's violent, or if it's whatever, they're hearing sad music, sad, or self-deprecating, whatever it is that the genre of your inner dialogue is repetitively going over and over and over and over and over. You're sending out, that's called a dominant vibration. So it's dominant. It's your dominant chords. That's the dominant sound. That's the dominant vibration, like music. Right. So people can hear it. So you feel people coming before they even open their mouth and start speaking. And this is where people don't realize that everyone has the abilities to be telepathic. We all, if we're quiet enough and sensitive enough, pay attention enough, and give ourselves the time and energy to be in your true self, you could actually feel what people are feeling immediately without them even speaking. Now, that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing if you don't know what to do about it. It's a bad thing if you don't know how to help the person or even how to get out of their way. It's a bad thing if you yourself are insecure about your skill set and then you get triggered yourself and then you get into a big argument with this person because they're trying to tell you one thing, but you feel internally that they actually feel differently and you're trying to prove it to them.
Right.
It becomes a big war. So I made all these mistakes in the early days and I had to fine tune my instrument. I had to understand how to work with it's like a fine violin. I had to learn these chords. I had to understand how to speak to people who I could feel what they're feeling and I know what they're thinking. And then I would have to try to talk to them in a way that didn't scare them and not talk. So there's different layers of people. There's the surface layer, right? It's the representative.
So your discernment on how to respond to people that you were entangled with, so to say, use a quantum physics term, quantum entanglement. And everybody that we meet and talk to and listen to, there's always quantum entanglement. And in the quantum realm, of course, everything is energy. So you have tuned yourself to higher frequencies of energetic information opposed to having to hear them speak before you understand them.
Correct. So it's like a dog whistle. So it's a very high frequency. So what I don't realize I'm doing that because I've just been able to do that since that day. Right. So what happens is this is what I've discovered. Humans have layers, right? So the personality layers, your front facing first layer is your kind of your representative. It's the one that says hello and goodbye. It's the one that says it's the first round of politenesses.
Sure.
Social cues, right?
Yep.
Okay. And I think everybody pretty much agrees to have that. And so it's not good or bad. It's just what people do. And so then behind that, there's I call it the judger or the criticizer. It's the one who has to say something negative. it's kind of a protector. It's the one that has to like assess the situation. Is this for me or not for me? Is this person good or bad? It's like it's like a layer of protection.
Well, they're trying to self-justify too their own unique perspective on a particular subject.
Yes. And they're also assessing you. And many people don't know they're highly sensitive themselves, and they're also very psychic, and they don't know they are. So they're also picking up on things you're doing, and that throws them off. It throws them off because they don't know what's happening. And then on top of that, because they're not clear and clean with their own lives, they kind of get it all muddled together, and it's not a clear, clean signal for them. And it makes them very frustrated. So you'll see a lot of very frustrated, talented, and educated people. They're frustrated with their abilities because they don't know exactly what it is they're hearing. So basically, it's like they're hearing a lot of different music channels all playing at one time. And it's very frustrating to try to understand how to decipher what you're hearing.
Sure.
And that's what I see a lot of people struggle with that. So when I talk to them, the mistake I used to make is I used to talk to the one who is behind all the controls, the higher self.
Okay.
The creator.
Right.
The one who made Dennis.
Yep.
So I would go straight to Dennis and talk about Dennis. Now with you, I could do that because you have done so much work on yourself. And that's why I asked you to be my co-pilot, is because your layers are transparent and you're very clean. And I love that energy between us. And so I love talking to you because I can go right to the creator and right to the surface, and you are, you're in one note, you're right there. And I love that. It's very refreshing. And so that's how I communicate as well. They call it being authentic.
Yes.
That's the terminology.
Yes.
But it's more than that. It's very technical. So the mistake I used to make is I would talk to the creators of people, like behind the scenes, like who's operating the person. Right. And I would try to talk to them about their creation, which is the avatar that their personality.
Sure.
And they would go crazy. They would get so mad at me. They did not want to hear it. They don't like what I was saying. They didn't know why I was saying it. They felt invasive. It was invasive. Right. They felt like I bypassed all of their locks on their identity doors and all their self-defense mechanisms. I just breathed right by it. And they were like not happy about that. And so I tend to trigger people regularly. Now, I've learned to not do that. Right. I have learned to keep that part to myself. I have learned to talk to people where they want to be spoken to. Most people want to be spoken to, in my experience. They like to be spoken to about 3 or 4 layers back. Okay. If you're a spiritual teacher like myself, they expect you to talk to them about 3 or 4 layers back. Some want you to talk to the creator in them, and they seek you out to do that. Right. But most people on the street, most people you meet will only feel comfortable the first 3 layers.
Well, that's because
they won't let you go past that.
Right. And because they have multiple issues, whatever they may be, that they're trying to resolve and improve and change in their life.
And they're scared.
Right. And they're afraid that they won't be able to. Mm-hmm. And that's why they come to you, for example, as a mentor, as a coach, as a frequency and vibration adjuster.
Ooh, I like that.
For them.
Yes.
So that they can go through the process and understand what you are suggesting or coaching them to do, and how it can enhance their daily moment by moment life.
Right. So what I usually do now is I have to preface everything I do. I have to prepare people in advance, and I have to let them know, I'm going to do this. Is that okay? Then I'm going to do this. Is that okay? And then I'm going to go here. Is that okay? Can you handle that?
And your enhanced abilities all circle back to the subject of this episode, which is your energetic upgrade.
That's right.
The new beautiful blue spinal cord that they installed into you, which goes into the nerve cluster that goes up into your brain and all of your neurons. It's all interconnected. So you're literally vibrating at a whole different array of frequencies now, kind of like your own set of cymatics playing back.
Yes. So I want to say one other thing, because as you know, this conversation, what I'm talking about, this part of it can go on and on and on. It's so
absolutely
so nuanced. But I did want to bring up something that was very interesting. So in 2010, one of the first time I realized I was psychic all the way was one day I was standing in the living room in that same apartment. Riz was on the couch. And I got this download. It was a very big, big download about the future of events that's going to occur in the next 10 years. Now, I didn't know that I'm allowed to know these things. I didn't know that it was something I should know. I thought it was kind of casual. It came to me in a very casual way.
Right.
But I said it out loud to Riz. Now, when I first started saying it, what I was saying was so outrageous that he didn't really know how to hear it at first. And I had to stress it to him. No, you have to listen to what I'm saying. This is a download and I'm telling you what's going to happen.
Right.
In 10 years time and over like a 10-year marker. And then afterwards, what's going to happen.
And this was,
in a nutshell, I'm going to tell you.
This was from 2010 forward though, just to clarify, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you what I told him. I said, in 10 years, there's going to be a change of infrastructure on the planet, in humanity, to where everything that everybody believed in and all the institutions that they trusted and everything that they believed was real is going to disintegrate, be rearranged, and completely fall apart, which is going to create a tidal wave of an emotional reaction from humanity of not knowing what's real and not knowing what to do. And half the planet or a big portion of the planet will die because they're going to just not be able to handle it emotionally. Right. So they'll create something and they'll leave the planet. The other half that stays on board is going to ride this wave. And this wave that's happening, I said, they're going to reinvent life and society as we know it. And all of humanity will do it together. And I said, not only that, but spiritual teachers and psychics like us who are considered the bottom of the industry, they're not taken seriously at all. It will be flipped over and they're going to be the most sought after and they'll be the most listened to. And I said, and he looked at me and he was like, how is this possible? How is any of this possible? What you're saying to me right now in 2010.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. And I said, and then everybody and their mother at some point is going to think they're a psychic or they're a shaman. And they're all going to try to teach people what they know from the kitchen table.
Sure.
And you're going to have to learn to decipher. People will have to learn how to decipher who to listen to, what's real, what resonates, what sounds right. And I said, it's going to split the group. People are going to split. Right now we have different groups. The existing groups that we have, they're going to split again and again into different groups. There are groups that don't even exist right now. They're creating new groups already. There's the more awakened groups and the groups that don't listen to the news and the groups that are like listening to completely different information. And they don't care about misinformation because they don't even buy into it.
You know, I think a good example of that everybody that's watching us right now can identify with is look at the variety of esoteric kind of out there type of information that people are building Facebook pages around and Instagram and all of the social media now. There are lots and lots of participants in this type of psychic arena information that never existed before, that did not exist in 2010. If you were able to go backwards and take a count. Yeah.
I think the stats on TikTok for hashtag spiritual TikTok is something like 13 billion posts.
Wow.
it has now, and the millennials and the young people are now like, they're seeing their infrastructures falling apart. They're seeing what it's doing to the elderly, like the boomers who cannot see this, but some can. Some are waiting for this. And then also the Gen Xers that we all signed up to be here and be rock and roll through the whole thing. And then you have your millennials full of love and compassion and trying to figure out how to live in all these worlds. They have to get along with so many generations above them and below them. And, everybody is becoming more aware of each other and more aware of what is happening in the layers behind the layers behind the layers. So if you listen to young people, you go to the TikTok and Instagram and you listen, you'll see that the memes and the comments, people are starting to read past the first blush of what someone's saying. Like, for instance, like the celebrity culture is falling apart right now. That's an infrastructure. So you have the Blake Lively and the Justin Bardoni thing. And so what's happening there is people are all the public is kind of like seeing past and reading past what Blake Lively and her husband Jake, or I think it's his name, is doing. Ryan Reynolds, I think is his name. So they're reading past what Blake is doing. They feel her, they see her, they can feel her in the interviews, they can see what's going on. So people are really tapping in to their third eye. They're really going into their deeper consciousness. And at the end of the day, that's where everybody's going. Eventually, it's going to overtake the planet.
I agree. And again, speaking of celebrities, I think that a lot of times people now, as they are gaining these new psychic abilities, and they think to themselves, gee, now that I have enhanced understandings and perception, and I'm doing more feeling than I am thinking, does it feel right? We all say that sometimes. And maybe that celebrity that I used to admire, now that I see deeper inside of them, I don't admire them so much anymore. And then there's another celebrity that they're going, now that I'm looking into that person, that celebrity, I'm seeing wonderful things that I never saw before. And their focus shifts then to watching that celebrity's films rather than another celebrity's films.
People are not so willing to be pre-programmed anymore. Like, we came pre-programmed by our parents and grandparents, and people are starting to think for themselves, and we're not buying into the same things anymore, which is really great. What I would like to do in our future episodes is definitely discuss all of these topics. I want to go deeper in the future into more of the skill sets and things that I've learned and how it's played out with clients and how it helps them, and what I've taught people about their own abilities. And then, as you, Dennis, I definitely want to go into your alien UFO experiences and abductions.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
So we have so many exciting shows ahead of us.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you're going into this direction of explaining to people that they really do have these psychic abilities that they may not have recognized, or they maybe didn't even believe in before.
It's pointing it out. It's when you point it out to, like when you look at a painting, but then you have an expert painter next to you and they point out some nuances you would have never seen before. That is all I'm doing, is I'm showing people the nuances of their talents and abilities and their skill sets that they have, that they don't realize they have, or don't know how to use it properly. And so I work with the spirit guides one-on-one through Riz's trance channeling, plus my own development with my own guides on my own by myself. So this is my daily conversation from morning to night, 7 days a week. And this is all I do. And so I fine tune, just like Dennis, I could assure you from the moment we first met, you and I, in 2010, you knew me right before and right after. And you didn't really get to know me very much beforehand. But I wanted to tell you, since the amount of years that you've spent knowing me, I bet you could attest how much I've changed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Major transformation.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important to emphasize too, when we talk about, we'll use the term alien upgrades because it's appropriate in what we're talking about here, that they're always very benevolent and loving upgrades.
Yes.
Their intentions to help us is to escalate and elevate in loving and benevolent ways the group consciousness of humanity. on this planet so that we can rise to the occasion.
Yes.
And have what normally people go, oh, that's just fantasy. A peace on the entire planet, you know, and everybody gets along. And oh, that'll never happen because look what's happening right now. And they're in disbelief. And so I really love the direction that this is taking, because I know that this is a part of your mission, is we always want to be encouraging and inspiring to people to look within themselves, do a little research, or maybe even a lot of research in something that triggers you in a good way.
Right.
You know, usually triggering is used, unfortunately, in a negative way. Oh, that's going to trigger him, or that's going to trigger her.
Right.
Well, there are warm and loving triggers as well. Yeah. And those are the ones I think that we want to encourage people to seek out within themselves. And then they're going to be, if they have the incentive to do this, they're going to be more helpful and loving with their family members, with their friends, with their with the people that they work with. Yes.
Yeah. You'll be more conscious and aware of each other, what they're going through. You'll have more compassion for yourself and for others. And it takes just one person at a time. And so, yes, things are falling apart and cracking and falling through they're sifting through the cracks. Like you're seeing the debris falling through the cracks.
Yes.
But then there's also what's rising, and people don't pay attention to what's rising. So we're here in our channel, and we're here in our work to show you what is rising through this rubble. And that's what people need to pay attention to. Yep. But I really appreciate, Dennis. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. We always have so much fun. I love every minute of it. And hopefully everyone that's out there, hopefully we've inspired you somehow to look inside of yourself and say, okay, maybe I do have some of these abilities that Oriah is addressing here, and that she received in her upgrade. And maybe I can make a request to my spirit guides.
I know, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And never be shy about doing that, folks.
That's right.
And never be afraid to ask.
That's a good one. It's true that you should ask. You should ask at least. Be ready for it, but if it's in your soul path and your soul contract, and that's what your guides have agreed to with you, and it's all green lights, it'll happen.
Yes. Take off and run with it.
Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Right. See you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
You go into a nice state of deep relaxation.
Yes.
Yeah. So
okay.
I'll be guiding you in some of that.
Yes.
And if you have your own means also of getting into a nice relaxed meditative state.
Yes.
You can certainly do those if you'd like.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I'll kind of do that with you.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so I'm just getting comfortable here.
And the recorder is on.
What was that?
The recorder is on.
Yes.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. So now is the time that we're going to do a nice regression. And we're going to be examining a few things. One is this: how many visitations have you had from beings on the ships? And also, we're going to go to your experience of being upgraded. So we're beginning with knowing how many visitations you've had on the ships. And in order for that to come to you, it may very well be that you experience one experience on the ships. And from that, or during that part of it, you might very well be aware of other visits that you've had with the beings on the ships. So in order to do that now, you're going into a nice state of deep relaxation. So you're settled comfortably now, with your head supported, your neck supported, and your entire body supported all the way down through. What to know about that you have been wondering about? And we're going to be going to one of your experiences on the ships with the other beings to know what that was like for you and the sort of thing that happened for you with the other beings.
I just see color, yellow color.
Okay.
It's a lot of gold and yellows and a very intense feeling that I don't know if I am myself an alien like you have discussed, or if I'm witnessing or in the presence of. There's gold and yellow moving in the air. That's all I can see.
Okay. Well, as this is going on, are you seeing anything else in that yellow gold color?
I just feel, my eyes can't see, but I can feel beings and essences around me.
You feel beings. Okay.
I feel very, very, I don't know if the word is advanced. I don't know if that's because in their technology, there's no linear structures and such things like advancement. They don't speak in those terms. So
Right.
it's not really advanced, but it's just, it's another form of intelligence that we're not familiar with.
Oh, all right. Uh-huh. And does it seem like that's right there with you now?
I still don't understand if I am feeling one of them, I am one of them feeling myself, or am I feeling them around me? I can't see anything. I can only just feel. This is a very, I guess the closest words to describe it is like powerful. It's a very powerful feeling.
Uh-huh. Okay. And you can just notice as we continue on with this, just sort of notice if it seems like you are one of them.
I am leaning towards that I am, because I can't find any familiar. Maybe I'm one and the same with Oriah. Maybe there's two of us here, because I sense both entities as one.
Okay, so stay with that awareness and just see what else comes with that.
It's just I'm starting to see very vague tunnel. It's like a dark tunnel, but it's not. It's like a shadow. It's very light
Mm-hmm.
and very amorphous. It's like it's almost as if maybe I am awakening inside of something.
Awakening what?
Like I'm trying to see, but I'm not seeing yet. My eyes are trying to adjust.
Okay, you still see a lot of the yellow and the gold.
That's faded into more white and shadow.
Okay.
Feel different species here. Like I feel like the reptilian species is here. And I can't see them, but I can feel their energy.
Oh, okay. So the reptilians, and then are there others as well?
Insectoids, like praying
Okay.
mantis style, but not quite praying mantis. Shorter,
Oh,
different.
okay.
Uh,
It's sort of the same type in general.
they don't have the same materials governing them as we do here. This is why my eyes are not able to see through the human format. It's a different material experience. It's more
So
essence.
human eyes can't
It's
really
essence.
push too much.
It's essence driven. It's essence. It's like imagine like a liquid world, but not liquid. It's very malleable, amorphous, moving particles, feeling very non-structural.
Uh-huh.
It's very essence driven.
Oh, okay. And not so much material as we are used to it here on Earth,
Right. Mm-hmm.
right? So that's a big adjustment.
Very big adjustment. I didn't think at first I was able to handle this, but I got accustomed to it. This is why it took me so long to speak, because I didn't know how to adjust to a non material
Ah,
place, world. They operate through consciousness, awarenesses of each other, and essence, feeling the essence of one another.
uh-huh.
Ordinary eyesight is not necessary because what they're not looking for things. It's not the visual cortex. It's more experiential.
Ah, okay. And they are probably more interested in your experiences than other thing like what you have and what your job is and all of that sort of thing.
There's this is not a linear place. It's like a not a material geolocation, like dimensional outpost. I can't find any location, so they're not speaking to me as if I have a job or anything that has boundaries or names or titles,
Okay.
because they're operating from a different frequency that doesn't require or not interested or doesn't need those forms of identification.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
very interesting. I am not alone here with I have a alien self version of me here, and also talking with my Oriah self at once.
Okay, great. So get more of a sense now of of that alien self.
I have the ability to materialize if I want to, and if I do, I have a similar look to some of the diagrams that you have created with the large head and thinner body,
Mm-hmm.
and the skin is a iridescent light blue feeling
Oh, okay.
with other little variations.
Mm-hmm. And
And
it seemed to be a name for your group that we hear sometimes on Earth,
Arcturian.
Arcturian. Okay, very good. Okay, so let yourself really see what it's like for you, with right exactly where you are with the other beings. Just let yourself notice how you can communicate together and whether you are doing anything together in one way or the other.
Oriah has some things she would like to say to you.
All right.
I have never seen or been in this dimension before, and all the quote unquote human trappings and mental, linguistical type of mechanics are not here. So their interests are not the same.
No.
It's very, very fascinating. So they are aware of me, but not as a being. They're aware of me as a ladybug is aware of a tree. They
And
see me as a part of their experience.
oh, okay. So they see you in the yellow gold and that area with the other beings. They see you as part of them.
Yes, it's like I'm not anything unusual to look at. More like their interests are not in my identification and my experience of my identification of a self called Oriah or any other selves. Their interest seems to lie in the collective experience of an awareness. It's an awareness of creation itself.
Oh,
So it's not isolated into one thing or another. It's more a universal feeling.
okay.
I don't know as Oriah how to be in this experience because I've never been with something so informal to the human experience. It's like they're not aware in the way that like I'm a special thing because I'm human here.
Oh,
It's more like they just know there's just oneness.
oh, I see. Uh-huh. They're
It's
not making a big deal about the fact that you've come for this experience from Earth.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very unusual feeling for me to experience this.
Yeah.
Even with all of my communication with the guides, I've never felt this level of certainty about the oneness of humanity, like creation itself. I was
Uh-huh.
going to say humanity, but they don't have a human experience. So it's
No.
more like creation itself.
Wow. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I'm finding that since I have very little to reference here, I don't know how long I could stay because I have limitations in how I expect to be seen.
To be seen when you're back on Earth.
No, here,
Oh,
because I expect a certain type of recognition of a self, like I am here separate from another, and they don't see me that way. So I've never encountered beings like this.
so instead of seeing you as a separate self, they're seeing you more as one of them,
Yes.
even though they have brought you, or in some way you got there from your life on Earth. But it sounds like they're very much regarding you as one of them.
Yes. So there's no, you are a separate entity from me, or you are a separate entity unto yourself.
Uh-huh.
They're not seeing me like that. There's no me to see. There is just the collective.
Ah, okay.
I've always wanted to see this and experience it. And once I'm here now, it is the most unusual feeling.
Hmm.
I see how clearly we are, as a human species here on Earth, very consumed with identification.
Yes, that's really true, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And an individual identification.
It's a very strong, strong pull for us to desire separation and identification from one another, so we understand ourselves better, and it does not exist here.
All right. So it's much more of a collective being together, or a collective consciousness
Yes.
that they have.
Yes, because I can't even see physical outlines necessarily of any actual beings, but I could, in my ethereal self, my ethereal psychic being self, can feel outlines of energy bodies standing around,
Uh-huh.
talking or being with each other. There's no verbal communication. It's a collective communication.
So you can see the outlines of the beings, but it's not like
Mm,
seeing a full physical being
mm,
there.
mhm.
So would you say that these beings whom you're with right now are other dimensional?
Absolutely. I
Hmm.
don't even know if they're in the physical light being selves like the ones you see in the ships. I don't think this is that level. They're at a different frequency where they don't require material, uh, material anything to quote unquote travel. And they don't need to travel because there is no time and space.
Oh,
So
okay.
they are just existing where their consciousness like wants to feel, they experience.
Oh, okay. Now,
Mm.
see if you can get a sense of why you are with them right now in this other dimension, shall we say?
Mm. I am a part of this collective.
You're a part of what?
I am a part of this collective.
Uh-huh.
I bring, there's a sense of joy around me. I sense that they feel I bring a sense of joy.
Uh-huh.
Like I bring trinkets from my travels, and they enjoy the the tinkling of the trinkets that I bring, like a fun adventure. I bring information from other lands.
Okay, and is some of that being brought from Earth?
Yes, it's my human experience.
Uh,
And then I share.
uh-huh. And that is that opening up a lot of understanding for them?
No, They all have different experiences with themselves in different ways, and different outposts, quote unquote,
Okay.
different locations that they venture. And each being has their own agenda, I guess, of what they want to experience. And
Uh,
then when we return, there's a sharing of ideas,
huh.
of it's a very jovial experience. It feels very like, if you could imagine people are very impressed with each other, that kind of feeling,
Uh-huh.
like they're making impressions on each other.
Kind of excited to hear from each other.
Yes, it's a joy.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated that they don't require physical bodies, that they just are in the light body.
Uh-huh.
This part is fascinating to me. I've never experienced this before. I feel as though my work in being very still with myself and learning deep communication over these years has given me the opportunity to experience this non-physical dimensional location, if you want to call it a location. It's a
Oh,
place. It seems like it's where all the beings that are not in physical are here.
oh. So that means not only humans like yourself that you've just come from, but many, many different species.
Yes, many species.
Okay.
They are not interested as much in the differences that each one has from one another.
All right.
It's more about the experience that they are sharing together, where we tend to look at the physical differences first.
Yes.
Then we understand there's more, and then try to find communication to share life experience with each other.
Right.
Over here, it's the other way around,
Hmm.
not needing to know or care so much about the shape or context or form the consciousness is taking.
Oh, okay.
I feel that these beings probably could come and go with different, I quote unquote, shapes. They don't necessarily have to be represented as a species, but could and come in and out of different species as they experience different lifetimes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, enjoying the fascination between each one.
So does it seem to you
Mhm.
that in different incarnations, they might experience be different kinds of beings?
Mhm. These incarnations, they have different view of this. It's not so much incarnations, it's more a continuation. They see it as a continuation of changes in frequencies, like measures moving on a musical, like written music, the different wave patterns. It's
Okay.
like they see life goes like this.
Ah,
It's an experience of revolving lives, different experiences revolving one after another.
I see.
Mm. So it looks like the word reincarnation, but it's not so structured as if you have to go to another place and learn your mistakes and then start over again in a new body, very formatted, like formal. It doesn't feel this way here.
No, and of course, without the physical body, uh, that makes much more sense that it's that way for them.
Well, they can incarnate into, if that's the word I can use, into a physical body for a time if they choose, like you call the walk-ins. They could do that anytime they want and then come out. They could go in and then they can leave. They could stay for a lifetime or they can stay for a short time. They can come out and in of different human or non-human physical energy beings in different dimensions. And it's like this is their form of joy.
Huh. You mean going in and out of those different ways, different, like human bodies sometimes, maybe others at other times. That's joyful for them.
It brings great joy. There's a joyful experience of sharing and caring for each other this way. They can be more a part of societies that they choose, and then they can leave when they have made an impact if they wanted to, or an experience they wanted to have, and then leave again and go somewhere else if they choose, or stay in the non-physical. They don't have to be physical.
So all that you're saying right now applies to you.
Yes.
Well, that
correct.
You can choose whatever form you want. And like right now, you're more in the form or lack of physical form that they are. And does that feel joyful?
Yes. It's equivalent feeling like, I guess you would call it the unicorn effect that you say here, a unicorn experience. It's quite phenomenal and very like supernatural experience, like non-human, but human. It's very beautiful.
Oh, wonderful. And do you have the sense that not only are you there with this lack of the human physical form right now, but do you have a sense that you have been here before? Is there any sense of familiarity about all this?
Yes, I have been here many times, and I come in and out of different formats of myself as well. For instance, I just switched into my more feminine form where I was more in my masculine prior. So, yes, I enjoy that shift as well as enjoying different experiences here on Earth.
And was that very deliberate that you chose to come in a female form to experience that aspect of things?
In this moment, when I switched to the female, at the moment, I didn't understand why or need to understand because I'm fluid. So it just moves that way. And I just enjoy like working with the right hand and then you switch to the left hand. So it's like this. So I move between the masculine and feminine energies the same way.
Okay, so they're both very much part of you.
Interchangeable.
As a female, you are more inclined to and choose to work with that female energy.
In this case, with Oriah, she needs more of a masculine approach because the belief systems that she has is that this planet is very intense with a lot of harsh edges, and therefore a masculine energy makes her feel more at home and more safe and comfortable. At times, I do switch into feminine for her to have a break so she could rest. And in her resting times, And her peaceful moments, I am usually there.
And when you say, I am there, what do you mean by that?
I am a part of the collective.
Mm-hmm.
There is no I separated from
Right.
other.
And so does it seem like you have a group mind? I mean, where one of you thinks of something and the rest of you know that?
We base our interest is primarily on experiences, not mental calibrations of any kind.
Hmm.
So if we have an experience and another would like to participate, they
Hmm.
can feel that experience with me. And likewise, or in groups, it is like, I guess you would call it tapping in to each other,
Uh-huh.
but it's very fluid. So it comes and goes. And I don't feel like I hold this only to myself. My experience is a part of a bigger creation.
Hmm.
So it is a part of the group experience.
And does that include your experience when you're on Earth as Oriah?
Yes. I feel, for example, she would be a representation of, let's say, the pinky, and I am in the pinky finger, but there
Mhm.
is all these other fingers on the hands and different beings
All right.
that exist in different ways, but we're all a part of the same organism.
Okay.
Mm.
And you all learned from each other.
Learn is not a word that we use here, but I understand your meaning.
Yes, I don't
It
know how
is,
to say it. You
yes.
can experience
So the
of different
experience,
ways through each other.
let me see if I can find an example.
Okay.
When you hold a baby, it's very young to your face, and you feel the soft skin and smell, there's a feeling you get, correct?
Yes.
An experience. That experience is joyful,
Mm-hmm.
and you would love to share that with another,
Uh-huh.
and others would want to experience that as well.
Right.
So remove the baby and just now bring the experience. Now you can share that feeling. It is implied there was a physical or a technical moment where there was a touching of a baby.
Mm-hmm.
That is not necessary in the conversation, if you want to call it a group conversation.
All
It's
right.
primarily a sharing of experiences. It's a different format.
It's different
So,
than we share experiences primarily by talking about them
correct.
to somebody, but this is more of a direct experiencing sharing,
So, for instance, let's say you were speaking about Bigfoot earlier.
right?
So, you had an experience, it was joyful, and it was very, very particular and very poignant in the fact it was just about the Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to come to Oriah, let's say, and share this experience without language,
Right. Okay.
you would just share the experience through your, I guess you would say, emanation,
Right. Your energy or
energy expression.
mm-hmm.
She would experience it with you right away and know exactly how you felt.
Oh,
It's quite a achievement to
right.
get to this place. It is a beautiful understanding of the self as one.
Yeah. Which we do not have on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It happens immediately upon releasing this physical form, and you will feel that immediately.
When you leave the form. Yeah.
Yes.
So is that true for other humans when they physically die, their bodies are no longer working and they leave? Is this what you're talking about for them?
Yes. Everybody.
Yeah, so there's definitely no loss of consciousness, and the identity of that individual who died, as we call it, it's not quite so individually focused anymore without the physical body.
Correct. So imagine you leave your human form and you are now, quote unquote, on the other side. You're in
Right.
this new space. Instantaneously, your being, if you could imagine fractals of like a kaleidoscope,
Right.
those are your identities and different lives you've experienced as a soul. So you have those experiences all existing, and they're all experiencing as well. And you get to feel all of it.
Ah,
You feel the totality of your massiveness. So
Huh.
right now is just the one identity, just only solo as yourself, Barbara.
yeah.
Then when you release the body, you experience all your multidimensional selves and identities at
Huh.
once. And this is quite a elaborate and exciting feeling for the soul to reunite with all the selves that you have experienced
Oh,
and are experiencing ongoing. After you leave this incarnation as Barbara, there's others that are existing simultaneously currently that will continue to go on.
other incarnations of Barbara that are happening elsewhere.
That and other incarnations as those that are not Barbara.
Oh, so with your being with these wonderful beings right now, and sounds like very much part of them, one of them, is there anything else that they would like to take this opportunity to say to you, to let you know?
Yes. Oriah was interested in physical abduction and time missing experiences. However, her quote unquote higher self has no interest in the physical. So therefore, we bypassed that and went straight to where she actually wanted to be. And that is where we are.
Yes, that's really the way that it seems.
And with that, I feel she is complete. She does not feel she has to locate a physical experience at this point. She is quite, I guess you could say, overwhelmed.
Oh, did you say overwhelmed?
In a good way, but she is silenced. I have nothing further to say, she's saying to you.
All right. Well, that's absolutely fine. It's been wonderful that all has come through that has come through for sure. So now let's go on to uh, whatever else would be important for her to experience in this session. I know that she was very interested in that missing time experience that she had. So if it seems like that would be helpful for her to know about.
Well, I'm speaking for her. She's saying she's not interested in that density at this time
Okay.
because there's quite an enjoyable experience happening for her now.
Okay.
And she's not as interested in this moment.
Okay. I mean, it seems like she's gone way beyond whatever
Yes.
the experience was.
She didn't know this was possible. And she didn't think she could withhold or withstand this type of energy. We helped balance her for a few minutes,
Hmm.
and she was able to hold herself steady. She's commenting that this is what her husband must experience when he's channeling.
Uh-huh. Yes, that's a very important process, isn't it?
Yes.
Be open to receiving accurately the information from others, and yet, remain balanced right here,
Mhm.
the physical form.
Yes. Yes. Mm.
Okay, so maybe that's um, enough for now. Does it seem like that?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and that she has lots to think back on and
Yes.
relive, in a sense, relive the feelings. So let's just take a few more moments right now for her to just savor the whole sense of awareness and feeling, vibration, everything in the yellow and gold colors with the other beings being there, not distinguished by bodies, but nevertheless there.
Mm.
So just experience that so that you can bring it back to think about and ponder over, absorb into your beingness here on earth.
Wow, Barbara, that was incredible.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'd like to just take a little time to bring you all the way back and be totally free to talk about this. I'm going to be counting from number 1 to number 5. And when we get to number 5, you're going to be here, alert, awake, ready to go on with the rest of your day. So, number 1, you have done beautifully, Oriah, with this experience. And I'm so pleased for you that you can experience this in a knowing way while still being in your Oriah physical body on Earth, and so much more than that.
I
Yeah.
feel like maybe this is what the people who have experienced near death experiences feel like.
Oh, yeah. It sounds
Because it's you feel this a massive oneness,
ah,
and you hear people talk about this, and we teach this, but to experience it,
yeah.
it's
That's a
quite,
whole different thing, isn't it?
it's a whole different thing.
Okay. I'm going to continue on with my process. Number 2, around you.
Wow.
That
Barbara, can I share a couple things with you?
Sure.
There were some moments when you were guiding me in,
Uh-huh.
and you got to the part about the diaphragm.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
around that time period. I started to experience this place, and I kept saying to myself, my mind kept saying,
Uh-huh.
this can't be. It's not a physical location. I don't see anything, but I feel it. And I kept saying, like, I have to wait. I can't speak about anything because there's nothing to say. There's only what I feel. And this went on and on and on and on for minutes and minutes as you kept going.
Oh,
I kept trying to figure out how to talk about something that's amorphous.
right. Yeah, yeah.
That's what took me so long to start talking. And I was intimidated at first because
Sure.
it didn't have any normal like trappings of material architecture of any kind anywhere. So I just kept getting this. At first I thought I didn't belong there. Then I felt that I don't know how to handle this vibration. Like I didn't understand it. And it was so powerful. So then I didn't think I thought maybe I would disintegrate or something. Like I couldn't handle, like hold this feeling. And they kept working with me and helping me to acclimate. And
Oh,
that's when I was able to, it seemed like it was a version of my alien self connected to my physical Oriah self,
mhm.
my energy body, my personality essence was connecting together with this other being. And we were in the same inhabiting the same body, speaking
Oh,
on both sides, like even over on that side, whatever that was, I was there as him first, then her,
yeah.
and me.
Oh, an amazing experience.
Oh, my crown chakra is bursting. It's like this heavy
Whoa.
feeling. Wow. Barbara, you're incredible to walk me through that. I have never, ever, ever gone that deep.
Ah, well, how wonderful that that is a whole new thing. And to me, that really, really makes sense because I know that we are so much more than what we are aware of, those of us who are living as humans on Earth. And I think what a great privilege for you to get to know some other aspects of you.
Yeah. I had no idea I was Arcturian.
Ah,
That's interesting. I thought I was Pleiadian. So it was interesting that Arcturian came through. So
uh,
that tells you, from what I understand, you can come in and out of different species.
yeah, yeah,
So that was interesting.
yeah. I'm certainly aware that from lifetime to lifetime, we can be different kinds of beings on different planets.
Mhm.
I mean, we've all probably had terms of being Pleiadians and Arcturians and reptilians and mantis beings and gray beings and tall white beings and all kinds without even knowing it. I mean, from my perspective now, with what I have been learning, all of that, which I just said, is perfectly natural that the soul can choose to incarnate in very different realms, physical realms or non-physical realms, um, and kind of like experience it all. I think, though, that when we choose to come into a physical incarnation, just like all the other past lives and so forth, and the life in the soul realm that we have left, we don't remember. You know, we start out new, like a blank slate,
Right.
with much more than that. But what we experience is being new here and more of a blank slate and learning from whatever our parents teach us or our relationships with other people, including other kids.
Mhm.
And then in there somewhere is this multi-dimensional person that is us.
Yeah.
And then when you think that everybody else is a multi-dimensional person too, having a human experience in this particular lifetime.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you took all the people whom you knew, whom you know, um, and could see all that they are, in addition to being a human on Earth this time, I mean, wouldn't that be absolutely amazing?
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But thank you so, so much for this. And I'm looking forward to talking to you again in the future. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I just enjoyed this hugely myself, and I'm really pleased to know you.